How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do a mission called Recovering What's Lost. Yeah, I've got this. I'm taking the P16, the big old beast. Got a heavy trailer or whatever. I managed to eventually get a P512 PF on the back, and of course taking a goddamn horse of a vehicle with us. Yeah, so for this I'm going to cut down this way. I am actually going to try and cut across that little lake bit with the P16, see how it does. Down to there's like where the railway stuff's all happened. There's an oversized piece of cargo. And then, yeah, take the least muddy route all the way back over to the farm and see how it goes. I'll just show you quickly how I got that thing on in the end. It's, yeah, a bit of a pain in the ass. There is ramps in the mods. I've never actually used them, but I'm not really using mods on this playthrough anyway. For the most part, I have actually got the off-road trailer pack on. Yeah, so I kind of laid it on its side, lifted the front up, eventually got it to that kind of position, and then dropped it. Because originally I tried driving it up the back of the trailer. I got the front up, but its crane legs were getting hooked on the trailer and all sorts, so yeah, did that, got a winch on the back of it, kind of hoovered and scooted it around a bit to level it up a bit better with the trailer, and then got the crane and yeah, just lifted the front up in the end because it couldn't quite pull itself up again because it's not got all-wheel drive. There was no bite or drive in those front wheels, so it wasn't really scooting its way up. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's probably more effort than it's worth. My reasoning was I wanted to take the P16, just go for a little drive with that, and yeah, I've got to grab that oversized cargo, so I'm obviously going to need to load it on the trailer. I could have done a road train and just towed it behind me, but since I knew I was driving there with an empty trailer, and yeah, I don't know, the thought crossed my mind. I was like, sod it, I'll bang it on the trailer. It should look pretty good, nice decent sized trailer with the P16, and yeah, managed to get it packed as well, which is nice. That's what she said. Yeah, so nice little cruise first of all, just down to the train station. Well, like I said, I'm going to cut through on that lake section, which it was only really, I could have gone left at the fuel station, kind of cut across the least muddy bit. It's essentially the route I'm going to do back when I go towards the farm, just for the sakes of a bit of variety, kind of doing a loop on the map instead of just doubling back on myself. And yeah, see how this thing actually manages through that lake section with like a big heavy trailer and an actual truck loaded on the trailer this time, not just a horse. And for the most part, this P16 still is a beast. I do enjoy driving it. I always have done, to be honest. I think it's, as I've said before, it's one of those trucks that feel correctly sort of weighted, so it behaves, I feel, sort of more realistically than some of the trucks. Again, that's another thing I like about the Navistar. But yeah, it was also, I suppose, the P16 is still the beast of the non-all-wheel drive trucks, and yeah, taking like the slightly smaller, newer one, P512 PF. To be honest, this mustn't be my first P16 because I've got a different bumper on the on my original one. I like the look of the bumper on the front of this; it suits it, and in real life, that is like the bumpers that are on it, but to be honest, particularly with that bottom centre bar yeah, on the bumper, yeah, it catches on quite a lot of stuff. It's not really worth it, to be honest. It's just that it looks quite nice. It sort of suits it pretty well. Swerving here for some fuel quickly. Probably wasn't the most needed thing. Again, I have got fuel on the horse, but yeah, messing around for 10-15 minutes trying to get that bloody P512 on the trailer. This thing was burning fuel. The P512 burnt a load of fuel. And the P12 trying to get it on there. I wish the P12 would at least move a bit faster, because I was considering using that for a mission, but I remember a while ago when I was driving it down the runway and it's so horrifically slow. Not that I would say this thing is much faster, but I'm still pretty convinced this thing is faster. The other difference between the P12 and the P16 is the P16 seems extremely good at hauling heavy loads. The P12 is good on its, well, I'd say good, I wouldn't go that far actually. It's alright on its own, but as soon as you try and tow anything, any kind of weight or anything with the P12, it just really isn't happy about it and struggles. Yeah, cutting through here, I mean, it going well at first. Again, considering it's not all-wheel drive, it's not bad, but there's just so many rocks, it was going ridiculously slow. I cut about 1:40 out or something. It's not the slowest time it's took to get through here. Again, considering it's not all-wheel drive and everything, it's not bad. Thankfully, there was some little shrub there that was like a super shrub, so I was able to grab onto that and just get myself out of there instead of plucking all the trees out the side of the map. And yeah, for the most part on this journey down here, at least, that was the only kind of trollish section, which, like I said, I could have cut round the other way, but I was curious to see how well this thing would do. I might have drove this through there before, I can't even remember at this point. Yeah, I didn't do a video in the end yesterday because I just really didn't feel very well. I didn't go to sleep in the end, so I've been awake for well over a day, and then yeah, I was watching, what was it, Return of the Swamp Thing. I remember watching that as a kid, the old classics, and yeah, sort of I didn't fall asleep, but I was like halfway there, kind of half asleep on the sofa, and when I kind of woke up, I just felt really ill, and I was like, sod that, I'm going to bed. It was not a good one. Even then, I only had about 3 hours sleep, and then I woke up, and then I couldn't get back to sleep again. It's funny when it's like with insomnia, you feel exhausted and extremely tired, like you feel as if you could go sleep in minutes, but when you actually go to do it, it's just like, that's it. It never happens. It's a right beast. But yeah, not too bad. I've kind of, the way I've done it, I definitely still feel tired today, but at least I should get a decent sleep, and then yeah, got the live stream tomorrow, so I kind of want to make sure I'm not too tired for that one, because I think last week as well, yeah, I didn't get sleep the night before, and pretty tired by the time I was doing the live stream. Anyway, yeah, flying back through the railway, cutting down these rail tracks, which again, the P16, just because it's like a big old beast, it sort of sits either side of the rail tracks pretty nicely, and it almost sort of drives itself down there as like the wheels kind of hook over each side of the railway. A lot of rocks down here though, as usual. Like I said before, Rockman was definitely back in force on this map. See, it's little things like that where not having all-wheel drive, like just as I went to turn off the railway tracks, because they're not physically driving themselves, it kind of scooted along the railway beam kind of thing, rather than having enough power to climb its way over. So I just kind of understeered almost going down there. And not the end of the world, I just mean that's kind of the yeah, what you miss out with all-wheel drive. And in some situations, like the P16 versus the P12, I believe they've got the same engines, they're similar-ish sized trucks and all the rest of it. The P12 has all-wheel drive, but at the cost of, like, there's more wheels to feed, so it feels like there's less power per wheel. And in general, the truck feels weaker, so it's not necessarily that all-wheel drive, you know, sharing the power among more stuff is always good, but it's also good that the option's there. Yeah, I think with the P12 you can turn the front wheel drive off, so you can kind of make it just to a rear wheel drive thing. Yeah, drove this off the trailer. That P512, I have to say, it does roll a bit too easily, particularly with this crane on. When I was using it, I can't even remember now, the mission I used it on the other week, was it the Sequoia mission, I think it was. Yeah, I rolled them a lot more than I would have liked to. Obviously, to be fair, I appreciate jumping off a trailer is not the most sane thing to be doing, but again, if they don't offer some kind of ramps in with the trailers, then it's not really a whole lot of choice. But yeah, it immediately jumped off there, stubbed its nose and just rolled over. It's definitely not a lot of weight on it low down. Thankfully, yeah, the P12's plenty of muscle, so I had no issues flipping it back. So that's the first part of the mission done. Felt like things went pretty smoothly. I was just trying to scoot the trailer over to the left a little more, because they were kind of hooking on those rocks a little bit. Again, I was getting caught, yeah, just on all the rocks on the floor, but keep it pinned, fingers crossed, and we managed to get it going. I possibly could have drove forward. It all looks swampy and everything in front of me. The only thing I was assuming is that when you see in like the muddy water sections, as you can kind of see now, the rocks all sticking out of the muddy water. In the deeper water, there's probably going to be rocks all over the place. And to be fair, yeah, the P16, it really isn't too keen on rocks, because the front wheels aren't powered. When they get stuck on something, again, they're making no effort to climb over. So you're just trying to kind of push the front end over using the back end, and yeah, it just doesn't go too well in this game. So that's another thing there. I was turning fully to the left, but as the power was only coming from the back of my truck, that was almost like skidding along and trying to overtake my front, and it made me go on a bit of a crappy angle. So give it a bit of a better reverse. I was trying to go a bit wider to not hit that railway cart thing, but once it did that to me, I was like, sod it, floor it. But fortunately, it kind of got its way around. Again, hooked on some other rock. Yeah, that one this time. To be fair, that is a pretty meaty rock. On the meaty rock scale. You don't want to type that one into Google though. Yeah, as you can see over to my right, like I could have just looped around and maybe drove through there, but I had a feeling it'd be more hassle than it's worth, and it was probably better to just do a U-turn and yeah, be able to drive back out of there using the railway track. So now though, I'm going to go up here, which in theory is like I could have used this road cutting down to here and avoided that lake section. And to be fair, I mean the lake section, this did get through it for the most part. I did need a winch in the end. Fortunately there was that super shrub bit, but yeah, they just kind of priced that area of the map out of usefulness. And this, I would say, is highly, like, look at it, instantly runs out of oomph in high, which is kind of like, well, that seems a bit, it was a bit quick to throw in the towel there, but whatever. Put it down into auto, high, low, medium, low, all the rest of it. It's just, that's it, there's no power, and it's like, I'm not hooked on any tree stumps, there's no rocks. I've got a heavy trailer, and it's got the oversized cargo, but I don't know, I wouldn't really consider this anything particularly challenging, but for whatever reason it just can't handle it. And I've got a feeling it's like the actual roads on this game, they've coded them where, I don't know if it's a rev cap, like it zaps your power or what's going on, but I turn over to the grass where there is no road, and in theory I would say this is now slightly steeper than the road, and yet that weird lack of power doesn't kick in, and this thing motors up just like normal, like the P16 usually does. That's one thing I've always liked about the P16, it's an absolute hauling machine. But yeah, I don't know what the situation is. I've definitely done something to this game and kind of slightly broke everything in the last couple of weeks, because, as I said, when these maps first came out, yeah, I was liking them a lot. Like, it's one of them things where it's, like I say, I'm sure they're adjusting things afterwards, because every time a new map comes out, I drive around it, and for the most part, it's like, yeah, I quite like this, it's not too bad. And then, kind of within a week, it's sort of, everything feels even worse and slower and all the rest of it. It's sort of the same. I didn't mind flooded foothills and that at first, but then after a while, it was just like, as if, yeah, everything was dialed up on the map. And on these maps, this new region, it's not so much only that the maps feel like they've been dialed up a bit, it feels like the trucks or the gearboxes or something has been dialed down on top of it, so it's kind of like a double hit. I could have just drove straight ahead here and then gone over the bridge, but I was feeling lucky. I wanted to see how this thing cut across here. It was a little bit ambitious, because as you can see there is some pretty big rocks in this section, but you don't know unless you find out. Well, I mean, that's part of, like, I could just stick to the best trucks in the game all the time, but for the sakes of mixing it up, I actually do think the P16 is one of the better trucks in the game. Certainly wouldn't say the best overall, it's not the most versatile, you can't have a crane on it and all sorts of stuff, but yeah, I don't know, there's just something enjoyable about it. Obviously it's got the best horn in the game as well, which is pretty nice. All things considered, I did have to stick a winch onto some kind of super shrub again, which, it's weird in this one, like they some of those shrubs pop out like the normal stuff, just absolutely no resistance. Some of them hang on for dear life, and yeah, can actually grip hard enough to pull a P16, a trailer and all the rest of it out the river, which I'm not complaining. See, again, like that section there, it's just, yep, I've been through it before. You put too many rocks and everything in there, I'll just go round it. Which, in some cases, did make sense on maps like heavily driven areas that got really boggy. It was like, yeah, it's quite a clever option to drive around it. Like, yeah, I don't know, when I've driven through fields and stuff that have, like, you know, some narrow section that's been heavily driven over, quite often it is better to sort of cut over fresh ground that's not already been chewed up by other trucks. But yeah, they're taking it to the point, like I said, that road section back there where this thing just ran out of power. it sort of doesn't make sense that it would have been better off driving up the grassy, even steeper hill to the left of it. Anyway, nice little easy trip over here. Got the factory bridge built, so that was not an issue. And as we're coming down here, again, like the road splits, and I could do that like wiggly section with loads of kind of rocks blocking the road, or cut down this little dirt road to the left. There's like a little brick farming thing at the bottom, and then yeah, cut across the water to the farm, which again I thought I'll take the chance. I'll see how it goes. Now, I did cut over there the other day. I think it might have been in the Paystar, like the new, yeah, sort of 10-wheeled thing, and I think that was struggling pretty bad. But again, there's just rocks under the water, which, well, yeah, if we had an option to clear them out of the way, it'd help. Sure, I've stubbed this. See, this might be that front bumper, that bottom bar just sitting a bit low. Caught on, I don't know, some tree log or something. Didn't do me any favours. I was looking there, I couldn't really work out. I don't think it is, but I wasn't sure if that was like a little rock bridge that you're able to cut over, but I might check it out later. It certainly looked a bit small if the P16 was going to be climbing over it. And again, you can see a few rocks kind of sticking out of the water, but I believe in a second I'm about to hit a patch of them that basically puts an end to that one. Fortunately, the P16 did get far enough that I was able to stick out a winch to those trees, so not much of a major issue. See, that's kind of the odd thing, where they've put rocks that will just stop you, but then they've put trees that you can winch out of, and it's kind of like, if they made it a little less rocky, but it was to the point where it's like, you know, you can get through there, but it's a bit of a squeeze. That's what she said. Yeah, it would, I don't know, kind of make it more challenging in that sense. Like, all I had to do that time was just floor it flat out until I get stuck on the rocks, and then hit the winch, and then it's kind of automatically going to drag me to the other side. So there is a few sections where, yeah, they didn't really think it through that well. They're just too focused on make it ridiculously trollish and get everything stuck. Now, when I got to this point, I was like, oh no, I could already tell the fact that the yellow box is kind of on the loading platform, not in front of it, that it's going to want me to manually load this cargo container onto the platform, which, to be fair, it would have been nice if there was some kind of warning, because I had that P512 with me. I could have just towed that behind me as like a road train thing. Yeah, that's hence why I cut a lot of it out, because there's no point in just watching this thing drive here. It got stuck in the river pretty badly. I ended up having to nip to the fuel station to top it back up, because it had nailed most of its fuel by then. See, it liked to roll, thankfully, because it was kind of down into the flooded section. It sort of had enough momentum to it to get back on its wheels, which, yeah, was good. Otherwise I would have probably just recovered it to the garage at this point and drove back down. But we got it done. And yeah, we had to drive through the farm again. It wasn't too much of a bad mission though, all things considered. And again, I certainly could have used all-wheel drive trucks and probably made my life a little bit easier, but where would the fun be in that? And that's it. That's all the game wanted me to do. Like, you happy now? Done. It's not a whole lot of money, all things considered. Was it about 8 grand or something? Again, what was that mission we did the other day? Oh yeah, picking up them oil barrels on Grainwoods. That was like, not a bad payout, all things considered. Yeah, just as a quick last one, just to show you, this was when I was driving back. I've already got through that river section. It got through there pretty nicely. Got caught on a rock, fair enough, dropped it out high, and now look. It had power, and then it's as if it just zaps it, and that's it. High, low, everything. It's just completely, there's no power anymore. Like, I'm convinced they've kind of coded sections of the road to just nail it. But yeah, anyway, that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with me live stream. Thanks to my Patreon members as well, and I'll be back soon.